The Lion and the Mouse, a story of unlikely friendship. In the heart of the African savanna, where the golden grass swayed gently under the warm sun, lived a mighty lion named Leo. He was the king of the jungle, feared and respected by all the animals that roamed the land. His powerful roar echoed through the plains, and his majestic mane shimmered like the sun, making him an awe-inspiring sight. One bright morning, while Leo was lounging under a large acacia tree, he felt a tickling sensation on his paw. Startled, he opened his eyes to see a tiny mouse scurrying across his foot. The mouse, whose name was Max, was in search of food, unaware of the danger he had stumbled into. Leo, annoyed by the little creature's presence, raised his massive paw to squash the mouse. But then he paused. Something in Max's tiny, trembling form struck a chord in his heart. With a deep growl, he said, "Why should I waste my time with such an insignificant creature?" Max, trembling with fear, looked up at the giant lion. "Please, mighty Leo. Spare my life, and I promise I will repay your kindness someday." The lion let out a hearty laugh that resonated across the savanna. "You think you can help me, little mouse? You are no bigger than a snack for me. But I will spare you today, simply for your bravery in speaking to me." With that, Leo lifted his paw and allowed Max to scurry away into the tall grass, grateful for his life. The mouse dashed away, his heart pounding with both fear and relief. As days turned into weeks, Leo continued to roam the savanna, hunting and ruling over his territory. The animals revered him, and he was known for his strength and wisdom. Yet, there was something missing in his life. Despite being the king, Leo often felt lonely. His pride was small, and the other animals kept their distance, intimidated by his size and might. Max, on the other hand, led a modest life in the meadow, gathering food and avoiding larger predators. Though they lived in the same land, their paths rarely crossed. Max had a curious spirit and often explored the savanna, but he was always careful to stay clear of Leo's territory. One day, while foraging for seeds and nuts, Max overheard a group of animals discussing Leo's latest hunt. "He caught the fastest gazelle today," exclaimed a parrot, fluttering her colorful wings. "No one dares challenge him." Another animal chimed in, "He is the king of the jungle, but he is also quite lonely. Did you see how he roars? It's as if he is calling for someone, but no one answers." Max paused, pondering the words of the animals. He remembered the kindness Leo had shown him and wondered if there was more to the lion than met the eye. With newfound courage, Max decided that he would find a way to visit Leo, not as a nuisance, but as a friend. Gathering his thoughts, Max approached the acacia tree where Leo often rested. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the savanna, and the air was filled with the sounds of chirping crickets and rustling leaves. With each step, his heart raced, but he pushed through his fears. "Mighty Leo!" Max called out, his voice trembling. "It is I, Max, the mouse you spared." Leo raised his head, surprised to see the little mouse approaching. "What do you want, small one? I could crush you in an instant." Max took a deep breath, summoning all his courage. "I came to see if you would allow me to sit with you. I have heard that you are a great king, but I also sense that you are lonely. Perhaps we can share stories." Leo raised an eyebrow, intrigued by Max's boldness. "Very well, little mouse. Sit by my side. But be quick about it, as I do not have all day." Max perched on a nearby rock, his heart racing but filled with excitement. "I have seen many things in the savanna. There are beautiful sunsets and enchanting places beyond the hills. Have you ever traveled beyond your territory?" Leo chuckled, his deep voice rumbling like thunder. "I have no need to travel. I rule over this land. Everything I need is here." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Max shared tales of his adventures in the meadow, the friends he had made, and the wonders he had discovered. Leo listened intently, slowly warming to the little mouse's stories. In that moment, a bond began to form between the unlikely pair. Days turned into weeks, and the seasons changed. Leo and Max continued to meet regularly, sharing stories and laughter. Their friendship grew stronger, challenging the norms of the animal kingdom. The other animals in the savanna watched with a mix of curiosity and disbelief as the lion and mouse forged an unlikely bond. One fateful afternoon, Leo, feeling particularly hungry, ventured deeper into the forest than he usually did. In his pursuit of a gazelle, he didn't notice the hidden trap set by a group of hunters. With a swift snap, the trap closed around Leo's powerful leg, ensnaring him and rendering him helpless. Roaring in frustration and pain, Leo struggled to free himself, but the more he fought, the tighter the trap became. His mighty roars echoed through the forest, sending shivers through the hearts of all creatures nearby. Max was foraging nearby when he heard the lion's anguished cries. His heart raced as he recognized the voice of the king of the jungle. With determination, he ran toward the source of the sound, his tiny feet moving swiftly through the underbrush. When Max arrived at the scene, he was horrified to see Leo trapped and struggling. "Mighty Leo! What happened?" he squeaked, looking up at the massive lion. "Foolish mouse! I am caught in a trap. Leave me be before the hunters return." Leo roared, pain lacing his voice. But Max, remembering the kindness Leo had shown him, stood tall. "No, I won't leave you. You spared my life, and now it is my turn to help you." With that, Max approached the trap cautiously, his tiny heart pounding. He examined the heavy metal jaws that held Leo captive. It was a daunting task for such a small creature, but he was determined to save his friend. Using his sharp teeth, Max began to gnaw at the ropes that held the trap together. Leo watched in disbelief as the little mouse worked tirelessly, his tiny body moving with surprising speed and focus. "Why are you doing this?" Leo asked, both amazed and bewildered. "Because you showed me kindness when you could have crushed me. This is my way of repaying you," Max replied, his voice steady despite the daunting task. Max's teeth were strong, but the ropes were thick and tough. He bit and pulled, his tiny body straining under the effort. With each bite, he could feel the weight of the lion's trust in him, pushing him forward. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Max managed to chew through one of the ropes. The trap loosened slightly, giving Leo hope. With renewed determination, Max continued his work, gnawing and pulling until the last rope was severed. With a powerful kick, Leo was able to free his leg from the trap, shaking off the remnants of his entrapment. He looked down at the tiny mouse, who was panting heavily from the effort. "You did it, little friend," he exclaimed, his voice filled with gratitude. Max smiled up at Leo, his heart swelling with pride. "I told you I would repay your kindness." The two friends embraced, their bond stronger than ever. Leo had learned that even the smallest creature could possess immense bravery and strength. Max, in turn, had proven that true friendship transcends size and power. As they made their way back to the savanna, Leo began to think of ways to protect Max from other predators. He realized that his size and strength could be used not just to intimidate but also to safeguard those he cared about. "From now on, I will protect you, Max," Leo declared. "You will no longer have to fear the dangers of the savanna while I am around." Max looked up at Leo, his heart filled with warmth. "And I will always be there to remind you that true strength comes from kindness and understanding." Their friendship flourished as they ventured through the savanna, sharing adventures and laughter. Leo learned to appreciate the small joys in life through Max's eyes, while Max found strength and bravery in Leo's presence. One day, News spread through the savannah that a ferocious hunter had arrived, seeking to capture the king of the jungle. The animals trembled in fear, knowing that Leo was their only protector. They gathered under the shade of the great baobab tree to discuss what to do. "We must warn Leo," a zebra exclaimed. "He needs to know that danger is near." Max, who had overheard the conversation, felt a wave of worry wash over him. "We can't let Leo face this hunter alone. I must go to him." With determination, Max set off toward Leo's territory. As he approached the acacia tree, he called out, "Mighty Leo. We have a grave situation. A hunter is in the savannah, and he seeks to capture you." Leo, who had been resting, stood up immediately, his expression shifting from relaxation to alertness. "A hunter? Why has no one come to warn me before?" "The animals are afraid," Max replied, his voice steady. "But we cannot let fear control us. We must come together to devise a plan to protect our home." Leo nodded, recognizing the wisdom in Max's words. "You are right. We cannot allow this hunter to disrupt the balance of our savannah. We will gather the animals and devise a strategy." Max and Leo called for a gathering of all the animals in the savannah. The news spread quickly, and soon, animals of all shapes and sizes gathered at the baobab tree. Leo stood tall, his mane catching the sunlight, while Max scurried up onto a rock to be seen. "Listen, friends," Leo roared, his voice commanding attention. "We face a common enemy in the hunter who seeks to capture us. But we must not fear. Together, we can outsmart him." The animals murmured among themselves, their eyes filled with uncertainty. "What can we do against the hunter?" asked a timid gazelle. "He is powerful, and we are but small creatures." Max raised his tiny voice, cutting through the doubt. "Strength lies in unity. If we work together, we can use our unique abilities to protect ourselves. We must devise a plan to confuse and outwit the hunter." The animals began to discuss ideas, each contributing their thoughts. The birds suggested creating distractions from above, while the larger animals proposed using their size to create obstacles. Max, with his keen sense of strategy, suggested that they set up traps of their own to catch the hunter off guard. As the sun began to set, casting an orange glow over the savannah, the animals set their plan into action. Max led a group of smaller creatures to gather materials for the traps, while Leo organized the larger animals to create barriers around the hunting grounds. "Remember, we must work quickly and quietly," Max instructed. "The hunter will not expect a united front from us." With teamwork, they dug holes, set up snares, and created distractions using branches and leaves. As night fell, they prepared for the hunter's arrival. Leo stood at the center, his presence reassuring the animals around him. Max scurried about, checking that everyone was in position. "Are you ready, my friends?" Leo called out, his voice filled with determination. "Yes," the animals replied in unison, their spirits lifted by the thought of standing together against their foe. The night grew darker, and the stars twinkled brightly in the sky. Soon, the sound of footsteps echoed through the savannah as the hunter approached, armed with traps and snares. Leo watched carefully from his vantage point, ready to spring into action if necessary. Max, hidden among the grass, kept a close eye on the hunter's movements. The hunter surveyed the land, confident that he would soon capture the king of the jungle. He set his traps, believing that the animals would be easy prey. However, little did he know that a united front awaited him. Max, sensing the hunter's approach, signaled the animals to stay silent. The atmosphere was tense as the hunter moved closer to the traps. Just as he reached the first trap, Leo roared, startling the hunter. "Leave our home, hunter. You shall not capture us. Leo's voice thundered across the savanna. The hunter, startled by the sudden roar, stumbled back, his eyes wide with fear. What is this? A talking lion, he exclaimed. Max seized the moment, darting out from his hiding place. Yes, we are not your prey. You will not take us without a fight. The hunter, realizing that he was outnumbered by the animals, quickly attempted to flee. But as he turned, he stumbled into one of the traps that Max and the others had set. With a loud thud, he fell to the ground, ensnared and helpless. Now, let us see how the hunter feels when he is caught, Max declared, his eyes gleaming with triumph. The other animals gathered around, their spirits lifted as they witnessed their victory. Leo approached the trapped hunter, his expression fierce but composed. You sought to capture us, but now you are the one captured. Perhaps this will teach you a lesson about respecting the creatures of the savanna. The hunter squirmed in the trap, realizing that he had underestimated the animals. Please, spare me, he pleaded. I only wanted to capture the lion. I meant no harm. Leo, standing tall, considered the hunter's words. You came with ill intentions, but perhaps there is a way to resolve this without further violence. Release your traps and vow to respect the creatures of this land. Max, standing by Leo's side, added, if you promise to leave our home and never return, we will set you free. The hunter, seeing the strength of their unity and the resolve in their eyes, nodded fervently. I promise. I will leave the savanna and never return. With a swift motion, Leo and the other animals worked together to release the hunter from the trap. The hunter, humbled and grateful, quickly gathered his belongings and fled the savanna, vowing to change his ways. With the hunter gone, the animals erupted into cheers, celebrating their victory over a common foe. Max and Leo stood at the center of the celebration, their bond stronger than ever. You see, my friends, Leo addressed the crowd, when we stand together, we are unstoppable. We are not just a collection of individuals, we are a community. Max nodded enthusiastically. And in unity, we find strength. We have proven that even the smallest among us can make a difference. The animals danced and celebrated, their spirits lifted by their triumph. They feasted on fruits and seeds, sharing stories and laughter late into the night. Leo and Max exchanged glances, grateful for the friendship they had forged and the lessons they had learned. Thanks for watching and see you in our next tale.